Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another video. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you will be updated on all my future content. So this video is going to be a review of 3-digit subtraction with regrouping. Our first example problem is 491 minus 163, and I'm going to go through step by step how to solve that problem. So before we do any subtraction, the first step is to see whether or not regrouping is needed. And we regroup whenever there is a bottom digit bigger than the top digit. So I always say before you start subtracting, check for that. So 4 is bigger than 1, 9 is bigger than 6, 1 is not bigger than 3. You cannot start out with 1 and take away 3. So we are going to need to regroup in the ones place. So we're going to take a 10 from the tens place, that 9 is going to become an 8. And that 1 is going to become an 11. And now we are ready to subtract. 11 minus 3 equals 8. 8 minus 6 equals 2. 4 minus 1 equals 3. And we have our final answer, 491 minus 163 equals 328. All right, moving on to the next example problem. Again, 491 minus 163 equals 328. Next example problem, we have 500 minus 278. So again, first thing we do is we check and see if regrouping is needed. So 5 is bigger than 2, 0 is not bigger than 7, 0 is not bigger than 8. You cannot start out with 0 and take away 7. You also cannot start out with 0 and take away 8. So we need to regroup. So the 5 is going to become a 4, the 0 is going to become a 10. We also need to regroup in the ones place, so that 0 in the ones place becomes a 10, and we have to take away 1 in the tens place, so that 10 is going to become a 9. And now we are ready to subtract. 10 minus 8 equals 2. 9 minus 7 equals 2. 4 minus 2 also equals 2. And we have our final answer. 500 minus 278 equals 222. All right, moving on to our next example problem. Example number 3, here we go. So we have 468 minus 229. So first thing we do is check if regrouping is needed. So 4 is bigger than 2, 6 is bigger than 2, 8 is not bigger than 9, so we will need to regroup in the ones place. So the 6 becomes a 5, and then the 8 becomes an 18. And now we are ready to subtract. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Please hit the like button. It really helps the algorithm. All right, 18 minus 9 equals 9. 5 minus 2 equals 3. 4 minus 2 equals 2. And we have our final answer. 468 minus 229 equals 239. All right, moving on to our next example problem. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. It's the Mr. C. It's the Mr. Camilleri show. Oh, shout out to Mr. C. So we have 741 minus 334. So again, before we do any subtraction, we are checking to see if regrouping is needed. So 7's bigger than 3, 4 is bigger than 3, 1 is not bigger than 4. We will need to regroup in the ones place. You cannot start out with 1 and take away 4. So what we need to do is we need to take a 10 from the tens place. So that 4 is going to become a 3, and that 1 is going to become an 11. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, we used to call this borrowing, but it's not really borrowing because we do not give it back. 11 minus 4 equals 7. 3 minus 3 equals 0. 7 minus 3 equals 4. And we have our final answer. 741 minus 334 equals 407. All right, moving on to our next example problem. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Please hit the like button. It really helps the algorithm. So we have 542 minus 129. So again, step 1, we check if regrouping is needed. We're good in the hundreds place, we're good in the tens place. In the ones place, you can't start out with 2 and take away 9, so we have to take a 10 from the tens place. So the 4 in the tens place becomes a 3. The 2 in the ones place becomes a 12. And we are now ready to subtract. 12 minus 9 equals 3. 3 minus 2 equals 1. 5 minus 1 equals 4. And we have our final answer. 542 minus 129 equals 413. All right, next example. Again, shout out to everybody tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. $800 minus 442. So again, step 1, we check if regrouping is needed, and it is, because you cannot start out with 0 and take away 4, and you cannot start out with 0 and take away 2. So we will need to regroup. So we're going to take a 10 from the hundreds place, the 8's going to become a 7. The 0 is going to, in the tens place, is going to become a 10. Now we also have to regroup in the ones place because you can't start with 0 and take away 2. So the 0 in the ones place will also become a 10, and then we have to take away 1 from the tens place. That 10 becomes a 9. And now we are ready to subtract. 10 minus 2 equals 8. 9 minus 4 equals 5. 7 minus 4 equals 3. And we have our final answer. 800 minus 442 equals 358. All right, moving on to the next example problem. This may or may not be the final example problem of the live stream. But here we go. 531 minus 349. 531 minus 349. So we start in the ones place. Before we start in the ones place, we see if regrouping is needed. You can't start with 3 and take away 4, so we will need to regroup in the tens place. Can't start with 1 and take away 9, so we're going to need to regroup in the ones place. So the 5 is going to become a 4. The 3 is going to become a 13. Then the ones place is going to become an 11. And then that 13 is going to become a 12. (11 minus 9 equals 2). 12 minus 4 equals 8. 4 minus 3 equals 1. And we have our final answer. 531 minus 349 equals 182. And that concludes my live stream for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of the video. And if there is an area of math or reading that you're having difficulty with, put that in the comments and I will try to do a future video on that skill. Until next time, this is Mr. Camilleri signing.